I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us here on this terrific Thursday's edition of Talk Today as we invite you to join us. Our first discussion, our good friends from the Family Resource Centre. 1 o'clock, we're going to mix it up a bit as we talk to our friends at Boxing. There's some exhibitions coming up on Saturday evening. Then 1:30, well, the Cancer Registrar and oncologists from the HSA will join us. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us. And please, allow me to extend a very warm Talk Today welcome to Ms. Anne-Marie Diaz, the program facilitator over the Family Resource Centre. Always a pleasure to welcome you to the studio.
Always a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Dwayne.
All right. Good afternoon to you again. And I'm hoping that as we not only continue to maybe introduce, remind our listeners of what is the great facility over the FRC, but it's for all of us. It's for all of us. That's the point.
Yes, I'm glad you say it's for all of us because I think sometimes there is this misconception that it's only for certain types of people or certain types of families. But certainly the Family Resource Centre, we are your go-to place. If you are a parent or you have a family, all our tools, all our skills that we teach, they are all research-based, all evidence-based. So even if you you feel like everything in your family is going well, everything's good, you don't are identifying any, significant issues, you can still be proactive and come and upskill yourself, learn something new. I've learned so much from myself from working there. We have just a plethora of programs, of curriculums, of services. And so, yes, certainly reach out to us. It's all quality.
Yeah, and I like, well, hopefully I can invite you to share with us, some of the different programs and, looking at the different offerings that you have. But sometimes we don't appreciate that we may inadvertently, sometimes, unconsciously convey a particular perception. Oh, that's not for me because I am, things are going great. It's like prayer, if it's good, that's when you should pray. If it's going good, pray. Don't just wait till it gets bad.
Right.
But that's the time we pray.
Yeah, that's true. True. Yeah. So it's good that I'm here to remind people that definitely, you don't have to wait till things are bad. But certainly if you're identifying some concerns within your family, maybe you're feeling just overwhelmed and you're wondering how to handle certain situations with your kids or with your parent partner, with your husband, your wife, whatever it might be. You can certainly reach out to us. Our services are confidential, and we have a committed, trained staff that are just very much a caring people. We care about our families. We care about our wider community, about all of us just being kind of the best versions of ourselves. And that's what we're here for.
And the name itself, Family Resource. I think that in and of itself should be indicative of what you're willing to offer. Right. And how we as a community can benefit.
Right.
It's incredible that we look at the transitions that take place in our lives. We're married, that's different. There's a newborn, maybe there's an additional member. We already got 5 and oops, here comes along number 6.
Exactly.
Even a pet sometimes in the family can be an adjustment.
Absolutely. And I think, when you become a first-time parent, your identity shifts. You become this whole new person. It's a very sharp learning curve, and you don't have to go through it alone. I think first-time parents especially kind of isolate themselves, and they're maybe a little embarrassed and think, oh, well, I'm supposed to know how to do this.
Okay.
And everyone says, oh, instincts will kick in, but actually it's a difficult thing. It's a challenging thing, and so that's what we're here for. And so I wanted to definitely plug that tonight we are going to be having kind of like an open house. Some light refreshments will be available from 6 p.m. And you can just come and find out a little bit more about what we do and how we could support your unique family.
Well, I'm hoping that as you share that people will start to, because unfortunately I think whether we mean to or not, sometimes that's the message that we convey, and certainly is what we sort of absorb. This is for everybody. It's not just for that person who's having some issue or that family who is, I don't know, sort of portrayed this way. You know, think about it. If you're a great athlete and you train harder and smarter, you'll probably get better.
Right.
Just like that person who's a novice thinking, I wouldn't mind learning that sport or learning how to do that thing better. Everybody can improve if everybody's willing to put in the effort.
Right. And you know, for me, we don't have bad parents come in. We have parents that are struggling sometimes, and we have parents that they're already doing a great job. They just maybe need some more information, some more guidance, some more upskilling to be even better. You know, and so that's what we're about. So don't think, oh, if I come, I'm kind of admitting that I'm a bad parent or I'm a bad partner. Absolutely not. You're coming because you want to better yourself and want to better your family.
And the thing, and we are indeed speaking to Miss Anne-Marie Diaz. We will, pick up the phones in a second, and the phone lines are open because dialogue, discussion, an opportunity to maybe ask a question, get an answer is important. And I've always found that you and your team are always so amenable, not just to tell us where you are and what you're doing, but how we can access it.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
If you think about it, you're a parent. Maybe it is a new parent. Maybe it's a parent who has a child that is going through a particular thing, changing from one school to the next, going from one grade to the next.
Right.
Maybe the child now is, I almost find this word to be strange, an adult child, because no matter how old that child is, it's your child, right?
Yeah.
But the child is getting married, is in university, is moving away from, all sorts of things can transit,
Yeah, exactly. Life is just full of constant transitions.
I like that one.
And shifts. And so sometimes we think we're ready, but then we're in the midst of it and we're feeling overwhelmed and not sure if we're doing the right thing, if we're saying the right thing to our child or our partner. And that, it's good to kind of bounce ideas off of someone else that has a completely, we're not biased. We're have that completely objective standpoint just to support you.
Yeah, and I think too, if I may certainly guide me, I'm just, thinking of, as part of our discussion, coming to the family visual center, tonight's open house would be a good way to say, well, everything's okay in our family, but what is available? They get a little preview of the things that they can benefit from.
And actually, I'll read out a testimonial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on our flyer for tonight, and I was reading it earlier, and I thought, wow, this is quite good. So it's anonymous.
I know him.
You know Anonymous?
Yeah. Susan Lectreby here. Okay, I will try tomorrow.
So he or she, I'm not even sure who this person is, but they graduated from the co-parenting program, which will be starting next week. We have several programs starting next week, which I'll get into. So this person said, through these informative and sometimes emotional sessions, I have learned to better communicate with my co-parent. So they might have been separated or divorced. Focus on positive aspects of giving my daughter the freedom to love both parents. Speak words of life and hope to and around my daughter about her other parent, which can be hard if there's, healing to take place. Exercise emotional maturity. And most importantly, realizing that the end adult matters most. So that child we're getting, what's that destination we're getting that child to? What kind of person do we want them to be? And he put that in bold. The end adult matters most, and so we get so consumed in kind of our own selfish desires and agendas, and sometimes that comes through as parents. And this is a nice way to kind of make sure that our intentions are all positive and they're directed towards ensuring our children are brought up in a positive environment.
Yeah. I like that, the idea that at the end of the day, oh, it's interesting. Okay, we'll just find out. Can you hear me, Miss Susan? Not to be speaker of the school, but all of a sudden I hear nothing in my headset. Yeah. I trust Miss Susan. She said, you didn't hear that, but can I repeat it? She said, I'm fine. What she means is the volume level, the sound quality is fine. She makes it work. That's why, she's the boss, man.
Yeah.
But thanks. I don't know. It's not an earthquake. It's all of a sudden one of those, gremlins in the system.
Yeah, we're on edge, right?
Yeah. But the notion that, as that person wrote, the in adult, whether we subscribe to the scriptures to talk about treating up a child in the way, he should go when they're older.
Yes.
What we are doing as the influencers, the adults, in the lives of our children sometimes, very consciously, but other times, are we aware of that friction between us and the other adult in a child's life?
Right.
How is that being perceived? How is that impacting that child's perception of later relationships, later, expectations of that child as an adult? Am I going to go on to do this? Will I be good enough? You never know. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think a key thing definitely we teach is we can't control anyone but ourselves, and that includes our child, but we certainly can influence our child. And that includes our parent partner too. The only person you can control is yourself, and that means being in control of how you express your emotions, your behaviors, all of that. You can't control what the other person does or says, but you can certainly control how you respond to things.
Well, as we go to the break, could I invite you just a quick reminder, 6 p.m. this evening?
6 p.m. this evening to learn about what we do, how we support our families and our community. And we have several services kickstarting, or not kickstarting, but these are ongoing programs that we have, but they're starting back, all of them next week. So we have our Family Skills Program. It's a very interesting program where we have parents in one group and their children in another. And it's for families of children between the ages of 6 and 11. And so we're focused on behavior management strategies. There's going to be some emotion coaching, digital parenting is a new thing that we've started as well. Obviously, with the times, children are on screens probably more than we were when we were children ourselves. So we've definitely identified kind of topical issues. And so that's something starting February 6th. So that's starting next Thursday at 6. But there's still time to register for all our services. We have a co-parenting program. So if you're currently separated, you're contemplating divorce, or you are divorced and you're contemplating raising children between two households, that is an extremely useful program. And the quote that the testimonial I just read out, that came from a successful graduate of the program that really took on all the skills and knowledge from it. And we also have our young parent services. We've been very creative in kind of changing things up to accommodate our young parents. So if you're between the ages of 16 and 25 and you are pregnant or you've recently had a child, male or female, we are happy to support you in that very kind of challenging transition. Yeah, and that's starting next week as well. So we're really starting up a lot of programs and workshops.
All right. Well, we certainly want to maybe expound and certainly remind people, but of course, tell them where the new location is as well. So when we come back, get a chance to, share with you if you wish to call 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Please join us after the break.
CUC advises participants in the Green Iguana Culling Program to exercise extreme caution around the CUC's poles and power lines, especially when extracting iguanas from trees or branches that are in close proximity to poles and power lines. Participants should keep all objects such as poles, sticks, or hooks away from any CUC equipment to avoid any electrical contact. For further information, please contact our customer service team at 949-5200 or via email at service@coc.ky.
ValueMed Pharmacy is your community care partner for health and wellness needs. We offer convenient prescription processing at the counter and online at value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com, with pickup available at the Walkers Road or Boddentown location. We also accept transfer prescriptions from other pharmacies. More than just a pharmacy, shop ValueMed for personal care and beauty products from trusted brands, perfume and gift sets, Hallmark and greeting cards, baby clothes, footwear, handbags, swimwear, home decor, toys, school supplies, and stationery. And home convalescence aids like wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, canes, and hospital beds. With 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and in Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit ValueMed, more than just a pharmacy.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
One
of Cayman's bright and shining young stars. Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news. Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
The Water Authority would like to inform its customers of a temporary interruption of service. Customers in East End and North Side will be without water for about 4 hours as the authority works to repair a leak at the junction of Frank Sound Road, Botanic Road. Additionally, customers who live in the area between the junction of Frank Sound Road, Bawden Road, up to the Red Bay Primary School will experience low pressure during this time.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And Miss Anne-Marie Diaz, your program facilitator at the Family Resource Center. Thanks very much. For me, it is, as you shared, an opportunity for the wider community to be able to access. As parents, whether we're in this game together, whether it's just one, rowing in a cat boat, or whether it's, going to be 2 of us, but you sail over here and I got sail over here, but end of the day, it's the end adult we're trying to bring to the table as best and as positive as possible. Huh?
Yeah, and that analogy, it makes me think of us parenting in isolation. And I guess that's how we've kind of created things now. But we at the Family Resource Center, we're very much about community, raising children within community. And we are a very supportive team, highly skilled trained team as well. And we've grown to accommodate our clients. We're now at a team of 10. So we were short-staffed for a little bit, but definitely, our clients are growing. We want them to grow even more. We want to support. We're reaching out. We're being creative too in how we do our outreach. So we've recently been assigned as liaisons for the government schools to kind of streamline how we give presentations, whether that's to the PTA or to the staff themselves at the school. So that's, in my opinion, a huge success.
I think that's the idea, as you shared, the way we can connect across the various communities and get people to appreciate that, we always used to hear, being a parent doesn't come with a manual. Yeah, but there are resources, other parents. If you can have, as you shared, evidence-based approach to how to talk to your children. What was that book? How to speak so your children will listen. But we do have a call, Ms. Diaz.
Oh, okay. I'm excited.
As we go to our phones, we invite the rest of you equally. If you want to share, 949-8837 or 1-800-534-8255. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you today?
I am very thankful and highly blessed and listen very, very, very closely and keenly and all that good stuff.
Amen.
Good afternoon to your guest there.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I have a question or two for you.
Sure, go ahead.
Do you also have at times attorneys being there? I mean, attorneys that volunteer be there?
Well, yeah. So we have volunteer lawyers. They are not at our location. They only come Tuesday evenings at 5. So we provide a walk-in service called Legal Befrienders. And that's something that's open to the public. So you can just walk in. It's open to anyone. And our lawyers provide legal advice. So not counsel or anything kind of further than that, but it's legal advice.
Legal, that's at 5 in the evening on Tuesday?
Tuesday evening, every Tuesday evening, starting at 5, and it's a walk-in service. So it's good if you come at 5.
Okay. Walk in. The next one now is the location of your office and the hours.
Sure. So our location is Apollo House West. That's on Mary Street. So it's opposite Baby Express. It's kind of a double building. And so we are on the west side on the second floor. And our hours are 8:30 to 5, Monday to Friday.
And that's the opposite the old Thompson Meat Market.
Right. The old Walker House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's Mary Street, and then and the lawyer's there. Can you give me your number now, please?
Sure. It's 949-0006.
949. I had the 00, but couldn't remember the rest. Yeah, so that's that location. I didn't. Oh, time for the office. Location is on Mary Street.
Yes, well.
And this double building on the west side.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
And then it's it on the building, Farmer Resource Center.
So the first floor is work. Work is now on the first and third floor, and we are on the second floor.
Second floor, okay. The second floor. I'll write that down now.
Mm-hmm. And if you need reminding, just reach out to us here. We'll tell you. Either.
How about that now?
Yes, ma'am.
The number, the location, the office hours, and the attorneys and all of that.
You're right. You got the ball.
And it is walk-ins at 5, but they be there later than 5 then, okay?
Right. So it's 5. Typically, things close off, I think, by 7, typically. But the walk-in service starts as early as 5.
Thank you much, very much.
You're very welcome.
Have a good one.
Okay,
you too, ma'am.
Hey, thanks very much. And I appreciate you asking those questions because they're probably very similar to other questions that others were asking about.
Yeah.
Where you, how to get in and the walk in. I think it's beneficial. People may have an issue, need an attorney, not quite sure exactly what kind of attorney they need. How they go about it. Just being able to chat and get some direction as to where to go from there.
It's been a very useful service. It's a popular service too. People, sometimes just have some questions about contract with their landlord.
Mm-hmm.
Simple things like that, and or they're contemplating divorce, or they're having immigration issues and wondering what to do.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just being able to speak to someone confidentially, someone who's professional, impartial, and say, this is what I'm facing. And it may not be anything significant, but for that person it is because they don't know the answer. But it may be very, very significant. They may need more, sort of guidance and direction. But at least the very first step, being able to get in the door, is helpful. So a free service, another wonderful opportunity, and that's, I think, something you've offered as the Family Resource Center for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
I think I remember when you were in Elizabethan Square,
right.
being there from then.
Yeah, that's right.
See, this is why I say the community has so much at its disposal, so much available to us that sometimes we don't know, or we don't quite sure how to access,
right.
Or we don't think, well, that's not for us, but it is. It's funded, supported by our taxpayer dollar, right? With wonderful staff like you, competent, qualified, committed, and also the partnerships with our private sector. It makes the community stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. We're definitely building our relationships with other agencies.
Mm-hmm.
Just the other day we invited Special Needs Foundation to come in because we've been noticing a rise in parents of children that have disabilities. And so we want to make sure that we're upskilling ourselves and we're understanding what Special Needs Foundation offers as well to parents and families so that we can also bridge our parents into other accommodations that are helpful.
Yeah. And I like your programming. I mean, I was going to ask you about the positive discipline, and you mentioned the digitally distracted. That sometimes is not just the child, it's the parent. And with the greatest respect, parents who are so busy making sure that maybe the parent has a business that the parent is in charge of, or is a significant key player in the organization, and you need to be connected. You need to be on the ball, but you're distracted. And what message, if any, is that sending to your child? It was okay for you to be at the table with the phone, and yes, everything is good, but I can't play my game, quietly here.
Yeah, very true. And that's one of the great things about our digitally distracted workshop, which we can deliver individually to families as well, because our next workshop won't be till May, but you can also get our information. But we talk about role modeling as well, yes, and that there's no one size fits all when it comes to this sort of thing, because of course technology has been created to make our lives easier, and we, of course, we're not saying that it's wrong to be on the screen. We're just teaching how to possibly manage that for yourself, and like you said, for your children as well, and to just take the information and to kind of figure that out based on your unique family and your unique needs, especially like that. If you're running your own business, it's something you do need to have on, and so we recognize that. So you have to, take our information and apply it in a realistic sense, of course.
And this, I think, as we have those discussions, maybe not even these days at the dinner table like we would like, or that we think is the ideal situation, but families now joke about messaging each other in the house. And one guy said, and my house, you walk through one door, and before you know, you're out through the other side. It's not that big. Why do we have to message? And it's just the nature, the instinctive nature. You're right next to each other and you're messaging.
Yeah, well, a key tip I can give you right now, if this is something that's of concern or that you want to improve, is just hold a family meeting. Nothing too formal. You can. So
no agenda, no bell, no gavel.
Nothing like that.
I was going to get that.
You could be playing cards, playing Uno, dominoes, whatever. You can play a game, but just chat about, I noticed that we're all on our phones a lot, or we're all, playing games or whatever it is. And I want us to spend more time together. How can we do that? And get your kids involved in the conversation, because when they're a part of that, then they're going to have buy-in. So get their input, what can we do together? What do you want to do? What's going to be more fun? And then you might notice that, my week is more balanced. I'm going outside into nature more often.
This is the parent.
Right? Yeah. We're playing football again together. We or you might have, maybe there's even just 30 minutes every day, or maybe your weekends are just, fully digitally free if possible. There's ways you can do it that can still suit your family and your needs. But definitely, maintaining that relationship with your kids, with things that they like. Even if it's the video game, maybe you got to play the video game with your kid.
Hey, if you don't do that and you try it for the first time, you think it's easy. Oh my gosh.
But they'll love it. Kids will love it. They'll get to laugh at you.
They get to laugh at you. Is that what it is?
And then teach you. And then, then that's a bonding opportunity as well.
I tried that once, and I told my son, nope, we're going to find something else, because there are too many buttons. I mean, and I only had one controller. Apparently I hadn't qualified yet to get a second controller.
But at least you tried, and your child saw that. And they
He's still laughing about it.
Yeah. But I bet they really appreciate that effort from you.
It was fun, man. I thought, those games, you know what? A game of cards, much easier. Much more fun. All right. This time we do have a final little break to tell. Okay. And when we come back, please, always enjoy learning about your services. Maybe you guys can share with us some more when we come back.
Sure.
All right. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Do you stand for Christian family values? Do you support Caymanian democracy? If you answered yes, then join Cayman Cause in association with the Christian Association of Civics, Cayman Ministers Association, and Conference of the Seventh-day Adventists on Sunday, February the 2nd from 5 to 6:30 p.m. at the Legislative Assembly in Georgetown. Learn the truth about the recent appeals court ruling and its impact on the marriage laws and Cayman society. Speakers include the Right Honorable Dame Joan Sawyer, Mrs. Katina Anglin, along with musical performances, and light refreshments. For transportation, call 917-2985 or email caymancause@gmail.com. Stand for Christian Values 2020, Sunday, February the 2nd from 5 to 6:30 p.m. at the Legislative Assembly in Georgetown.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Breakfast is back. Yes, Saturday, February 1st, starting at 7 a.m. at the Lions Community Center. Enjoy a tasty Caribbean breakfast of fried fish and fritters, liver and onions, and ackee and saltfish, starting at only $10, and help support your community. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman supports sight screening, prostate and colon cancer awareness, Miss Teen, spelling bee, and so much more. Get your Caribbean breakfast and support the Lions Club of Grand Cayman in their community efforts happening Saturday, February 1st, starting at 7 a.m. at the Lions Community Center. Here's a public service announcement from the Water Authority. The Water Authority is continuing its efforts to restore service to customers still experiencing outages. Areas still without water following Tuesday's earthquake are South Sound neighborhood, Mary Reed Crescent. In the Windsor Park neighborhood, Oak Mill Street, Fairfax Way, July Street, Windsor Hill Crescent, Oakland Street, Dallas Lane, Oakdale Close, Norbrook Street, and Oak Lane. The Water Authority crews continue to work diligently to restore service in these areas, and it is expected that service will be restored by the end of the day. All customers in these areas will directly be contacted. Any customers outside of these remaining areas that do not have service should contact the Water Authority immediately.
Talk today. But I do have some questions.
Talk today. Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us, and truly grateful that in our community we appreciate the value of community, our family, and working hand in hand to making it that much better. So the program facilitator of the Family Resource Center, Ms. Anne-Marie Diaz, joins us. And, yes, I can't believe it. Friday, which is tomorrow, signifies the end of, the first month of this new decade. But next week, the beautifulness of life that the glass has water in it. I'll be offering some new services, some new classes for the programs that you have. So we can look forward with anticipation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, January, that there's a lot of people having, they have new parenting goals, New Year's resolutions that maybe fell off the bandwagon, which is absolutely fine. We can fall off the bandwagon, get back on it. That's no problem. And so, we are starting back several of our programs, such as the co-parenting program, which starts next week. So if you're currently separated or going through a divorce and you're raising children between two households, that is extremely useful. And we have the young parent services. So if you're between the ages of 16 and 25 and you've recently become pregnant or had a new child, that's something that's really invaluable, and we're very creative in how we provide our services as well. And we have Positive Discipline. That's a workshop starting next week as well. That's going to be a lunch and learn. So some of our programs start in the evenings to accommodate our parents, and then some are at lunchtime. So Positive Discipline will be at 12 o'clock starting on the 4th of February, and that's targeting parents of children ages 5 to 12. But feel free, if your child is younger and you want to be proactive, it's definitely a very useful workshop to start with when it comes to our programming. But you reach out, 949-0006, or please, you can attend our open house session tonight to learn about our programming and our services and how we can support your unique family.
And at 6 p.m. this evening at your So say your new location.
I know it's not so new. We've been there a while, but not everyone knows about us, so that's okay. But we're now at Apollo House West. So work is occupying the first and third floor, so you might notice them, and we are on the second floors.
Yeah, well, it just, I think, another sort of indication of the expanding role that you're able to play within our community, the clientele growing and needing additional services and space, and investment to make our, what do we say, our social fabric that much stronger.
Yes.
And the idea of the positive discipline, I was thinking back as you were sharing, don't believe I'm betraying the confidences. Some friends had attended. There was a discussion here. This was way back. I think Miss Miriam was the guest that day. We were talking about some of the programs, and this family went, and it wasn't a case where it was unruly behavior in a sense, but it was, how do I make sure that the children understand this is what is expected, but how do I convey that as a parent so that they understand? Because sometimes it's just that you're saying something, but they're like, huh?
Exactly. Yeah, communication is key, and definitely, sometimes that's where the breakdown is, or that's where the barrier is. We think our child is being disobedient, or they're not listening, or they never listen, but actually it might be a case of we're not expressing ourselves effectively enough for them. So it's really important to know our child, have a great relationship with them, so that we can know. And if we're thinking, okay, they're not listening too well, okay, well, how do we get them to listen? What do we need to say, right?
Well, I mean, that's part of the battle of communication. Make sure people understand exactly what you're trying to share with them. And you may be, obviously you know that I expect you to do this, but you never told me.
Right. Well, I can give a key tip there as well. Like I gave a key tip with a digital distraction. A good tip when it comes to communicating with your child, a lot of times, we might be yelling from another room, or we might be talking to the back of their head while they're on their phones. And we think they heard because we said it, but did they really hear? So a good little tip is called the attention grabber. So when you're not so sure if they heard you, just put your hand on their shoulder. Make sure you have that good eye contact, and give them the instruction, and try to make it simple, not with several steps, a simple step instruction. Get them to repeat back, and then give them allow them at least 10 seconds to kind of process what you said before you're yelling, "Hey, I want you to do that now."
That was for now, okay? Not tomorrow. But again, in this example I was referencing, something as simple, well, brush teeth before you go to bed. That's what we do, right?
Right.
Well, did you tell me tonight? Did you remind me last night? And it may be that thing that you do for a period of time, because some children, we just jump into bed and don't bother with it.
Right. And I think that definitely with the brushing of the bedtime, definitely it's good to have a routine, because if they know, okay, I eat my dinner and then I brush my teeth and then I do homework or whatever the routine is, then it just makes everyone's life easier. And you're not constantly on your child, "Oh, I told you to go brush your teeth." But they know the steps, and so it'll become automatic.
And the idea, some children, they're amazing. I mean, I was thinking about this example, and the fellow was just reminding me today, the child is a lot bigger now, but they like to test the waters, So you said to brush my teeth before I go to bed. Well, just like you said, they had a routine, and then hours passed before they went to bed, right? But they'd already brushed their teeth earlier, so they brushed them again. But why are you brushing before you go to bed? Oh, you just tested me, just to see how it goes. It's amazing how, if you have that dialogue, you will be able to understand how to interact and engage your child.
And you can just reiterate. This is a rule in our house that we have to brush our teeth before bedtime, and that's how we do things. And you just reiterate, because of course children are gonna try to test you and push your buttons, but you're the one in charge, and you just maintain that.
Well, as we're supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
No, but again, I think from what I've learned, just sitting here over the years with your team, talking about some of the programs, and having friends and family who've attended and they've benefited. You have other parents who are experiencing almost exactly the same thing at exactly the same hour on exactly the same day, with children that are the same age or a little bit older, a little bit younger, or who have gone through it, with an older. You get to maybe benefit from their experiences.
Yeah, I find that really valuable coming into a group. I mean, we can service people individually, but actually attending a group and hearing, from different people that have the same experience, it really is very validating. You don't feel so alone. And often, we encourage our group members to support one another. Hey, what do you want to share something about that? What would you like to say to one another right now? And so, we don't kind of try to take over and be the ones in control. We want you to feel empowered, to feel in charge of yourself. So
I think it helps parents too to realize that even though they may have heard it, they may almost believe it. There's nothing new under the sun. Sometimes you feel like you're the only one who's experienced this thing or is going through this thing at this particular time. And lo and behold, Mary right next to you, John right, having the same sort of issues. And they're not overwhelming. They're not impossible to solve. They're just at that time overwhelming for you and seems impossible. But draw alongside you, you'll find.
And our parents, I mean, they give one another great advice, and we give our stamp of approval a lot of times. Yep, that's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that. And the other parents are really pleased to get that as well,
But something too I was thinking of as you shared, it may be useful. Sadly, we labor on the myths, misconceptions and the like. And with your team of trained professionals, the evidence-based approach, somebody may share something and then there's an opportunity, if it's just like you do with a chat, well, here is an alternative, may even be a better strategy to employ in order to bring about this outcome. You're never too old to learn, never too old to deploy things that can be beneficial, especially if that's what you're trying to achieve, right?
Absolutely. And I think coming into our workshops, it's good to keep an open mind. And, some parents, they might try a skill or a tool that we give once or twice, and then they think, it doesn't work. But actually, with children and with people alike, with adults alike, consistency is key. So it's actually good, actually try the tool, try the skill out for actually a month or so before you're probably going to see any results. That's probably what you need to do. And then come back and say whether or not it's working,
Like most things, you got to give it some time and hopefully if you get guidance and training and instruction as you're going through it, you can make the corrective adjustments. The outcomes will be that much more positive. Huh?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow. So this evening, 6 p.m. is the open house?
At Apollo House West on the second floor, 87 Mary Street. We're across the street from Baby Express. And we're going to have an open house about our various services, our community education. And like I said, we have several programs starting back next week. And so please reach out 949-0006 or email us at frc@gov.ky to get the ball rolling and see how we can support you and your families.
All right. Well, we hope that, anything that we can do to offer to help to not just bring the public, become aware of the information and the services and program, let us know.
Absolutely.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully the open house is another resounding success.
I hope so.
All right. Ms. Anne-Marie Diaz. Let's pause and take the break, and when we come back, we invite you. The plan, as we see it, Coach Theo will come along. He'll bring Coach Floyd. Maybe he'll sound the trumpet, and we'll talk about the boxing on Saturday evening. But hey, one thing is for sure, Susan will be here. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Community radio with a different appeal. The voice of the people. Security through adversity. Stuck on you. Radio for all time.
You're listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on Island.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news. Access.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
DART's Executive Vice President Pilar Bush says DART is now accepting applications from locally registered non-profit organizations for the 2020 DART Grants Program. Eligible non-profit organizations are invited to apply and take part in the competitive 2-stage process for an opportunity at receiving a grant of up to $50,000. Non-profits interested should apply to no later than February 28, 2020. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. The death toll from the coronavirus outbreak has risen to 170, and a confirmed case in Tibet means it has reached every region in mainland China. Chinese health authorities said there were 7,711 confirmed cases in the country as of January 29th. Infections have also spread to at least 15 other countries. And Kobe Bryant's widow, Vanessa, has made her first comments since the helicopter crash that killed the basketball star, one of their daughters, and 7 others last Sunday. In a post on Instagram with a family photo, she said she was completely devastated and that there were not enough words to describe their pain. The couple had 4 daughters, including Gianna, 13, who died in the crash. There has been no word yet on funeral arrangements. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Do you stand for Christian family values? Do you support Caymanian democracy? If you answered yes, then join Cayman Cause in association with the Christian Association of Civics, Cayman Ministers Association, and Conference of the Seventh-day Adventists on Sunday, February the 2nd from 5 to 6:30 p.m. at the Legislative Assembly in Georgetown. Learn the truth about the recent appeals court ruling and its impact on the marriage laws and Cayman society. Speakers include the Right Honorable Dame Joan Sawyer, Mrs. Katina Anglin, along with musical performances and light refreshments. For transportation, call 917-2985 or email caymancause@gmail.com. Stand for Christian Values 2020, Sunday, February the 2nd from 5 to 6:30 p.m. at the Legislative Assembly in Georgetown.
But I do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you so much for joining us as we invite you to be a part of our discussion. We're hoping that our good friends from the Boxing Association will be able to join us for a bit to extend an invitation to some free boxing bouts at the Dalmy D-Max Boxing Gym this coming Saturday evening. At least that was the plan, hopefully, as the young boxers start to, I guess what I wanted to say, get used to having a larger audience watch them as they're sparring in the ring. It's a great way to exercise. It's a good avenue to allow our children to, exert not just the physical prowess, develop a greater sense of confidence and self-esteem, become physically and mentally healthy. So hopefully Coach Lloyd, Coach Theo might be able to join us for a bit. But on the line, you want to call and share your thoughts with us, please, do so. Feel invited. I know many of us literally probably still reeling from Tuesday's episode ordeal, changing of the guard, as it were. Oh man, that was an amazing experience, and not necessarily in the best way either. It was one of those things that you don't always get to tell the tale. Thankfully, we're able to, and friends who are still feeling a bit, woozy and wobbly and dizzy and the like. Well, it's challenging. It's challenging. So stay together, stay grounded, and be cognizant that it is not something that should make us overly panicked, but certainly help us to be cognizant of being able to prepare. Yeah. So as we adjust our mics somewhat and be able to have Coach Lloyd, Coach Theo maybe walk into the studio, and we'll do what we can, get them settled and share with them as best as we possible. Once the boss, Miss Susan, tells me what to do, and we'll get them to share with us. It's part of the challenges of navigating a road network at times. unpredictability of the traffic flow, the difficulties we may find when we have to move from A to B, and if we drive, not just how to get there, but is there an available parking spot? Some of the increasing discussions I think people are asking, of our populace, what are the future plans for the country in relation to transport and infrastructure development, in relation to moving people back and forth in sort of a mass transit way, not just safely, but as someone shared, what if now, like we had on Tuesday in Ellis Creek, and as we experience in and out of West Bay, you got 2 tunnels you have to go through and now a bridge. What if would we be able to do in the unfortunate occurrence if it's collapsed and we can't get through? Well, let's go to our phones. Welcome, good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you today?
Very well, sir. How about you?
Well, I'm good. You mentioned the earthquake there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a dream. I have dreams, and I knew something was coming. I didn't know it would be an earthquake, but anyway.
Mm-hmm.
What
you could feel it in your bones, huh?
Huh?
You could feel it in your bones.
No, this was an actual dream. This is an actual dream I had. But anyway, the thing I wanted to say was now, we had the earthquake. That was, thank God, nobody got hurt, as I never heard of anybody getting hurt or anything. And so we fared pretty well with that. And I think that's God talking to us. I think He's tired of the decadence that, Cayman has become a decadent place. Nobody wants to admit it, or a lot of people don't want to admit it. But the stuff that's going on here now, is, I'm getting afraid, like Sodom and Gomorrah, where all this stuff is happening, and God is going to say, okay. And I think that earthquake was a warning. He said, "Oh, so you think you got it made?" And he did his thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I wanted to speak about this morning also was I heard at reliable sources, I would say, that there was a case of this coronavirus in Jamaica.
Mm.
And I haven't heard a word on the radio or the news, anything about this thing. And somebody sent me one of them little WhatsApp recordings of some guy in Jamaica that was talking about this stuff, and his family, somebody was going to the school where this kid was, and he pulled his kid out of the school, or whoever it does, I don't know if it was a kid or whether it was a teacher or whatever it was, but he was really, he went down, he starts lambasting the Jamaican government for bringing in them Chinese, and they come in there and now they control everything, blah, blah, blah. And Dwayne, I'm telling you, if we're not proactive about this thing, and if I hear there's a thing called with a thermal indicator of some sort that you can have at the airport, and we've got to stop. If there's a case in Jamaica, we got to be more than careful about flights coming in from Jamaica, because this thing, you can't find it until after the fact. Your symptoms are generally nothing until you get the thing. And God forbid, with our position in this world, oh my God, I pray every day, Dwayne, that God will wisen up the leadership of this country and stop running about money and talking about we can make so much money from this, so much money from that. When we got poor people starving, right here in West Bay, I see some of the poorest people. I saw one poor guy the other day, he had a little 2-bedroom thing. He was renting one out, I guess. Guess he couldn't pay the rent, the electric or something, and he came and pulled the meters out. And then somebody was kind enough to run a wire somewhere toward the house so they could at least have a little light or something in there. And they talk about all of this stuff. We hear them talking about it, the building this, building that. And God knows that the Caymanians, the leadership of yesteryear, but they had their faults and they had their things. But I remember one particular case where Mr. Jim Borden, I think it was, that they had fired a bunch of people down from Holiday Inn, and these were Caymanians that were hired there because they had insisted that Caymanians had to have first preference of anything down there, or any place. That if they had the experience, you got to hire Caymanians. Not so anymore. You say the people that get in charge, they got the people from Timbuktu, wherever they are from, and they come in here and they're the manager, and then they interview people and they say, oh, well, you can't qualify. I don't know if you saw the poem that I wrote about the little guy the young man that, And these are the things that happen day after day, and our politicians. Remember when they were building the road and we protested the closing of Westby Road, the old road coming down across there, right? When they did that bridge, I said, now why did they put a bridge? There was no reason to put a bridge there. But I said, whoever was building that already had figured out and got plans for some kind of a passage underneath that thing that is going to go over from there, that land there, which had the Kaboo to the yacht club down there. But I said, I didn't have no objections to that. But I said, look at what they did. They closed the road on the side. And God forbid, if we have something serious, a terrible accident or something where that thing, nobody would be able to pass through there. You know, the other day they had it when that boat hit a car or something like that, and the whole thing was closed down. And it took me 45 minutes to get into Georgetown. That's how bad it was. And I'm thinking to myself, now just imagine that some poor person is sitting in West Bay, dying for an ambulance to get there, to get them into town. And there's no way, because the ambulance, I can tell you this, the ambulance that was going up to the scene, they were sitting next to me on the Tibbetts after I got on from Bob New Road. Okay? And it was just, I tell you, it took 45 minutes. And this is what I'm saying. The good book says the love of money is the root of all evil. And when we start loving money and we start and want this and that, and believe me, Dwayne, when I tell you, how could you build one high school and go $60 million over the budget and nobody is accountable? Where did $60 million, it was supposed to be $50 million to build it. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say it was $55 million. Where did the $55 million, the other $50 million, $45 million go, whatever it is? You know, the thing is that I'm saying that the legislator, as I see the legislation, as we have it today, the government, you have some good people in that government, but I think what happens is those people are overridden by those who have a thing that they determine they're going to do. I'm hoping and I'm praying, Dwayne, that God will come down and shake us up, whether it be an earthquake or something else, and show us, because, you know, every time I hear him talking about the stock, they're going to build the stock. Now, all these years, we've been doing pretty good with tourism. We've been doing good with stuff, you know. But I imagine now that they get a dock built, and we got something like this thing, this coronavirus thing, and people can walk off the boat, and you got hundreds, thousands of people walking through Cayman Area. You know, you got to have it come in gradually so you can vet these people, make sure that they have that on the dock, that thermal thing at least on the dock and at the airport. So anybody who coming through there, you know, and make sure that all the staff that is doing this work up at the airport are wearing masks and stuff, and doing whatever it is to protect themselves. I don't know, Dwayne, the answer, but I trust in Jesus, and I ask Jesus every day, because, you know, He answers my prayers, no question about that. And I'm hoping that God will be kind enough to try to help us not to get that. But I said, unless we turn around and give God the honor that He needs, that He should have, and get rid of all the decadence I've seen came. And I went to a club the other night. Oh, I didn't go inside because I didn't know what it was. And when the fellow told me what it was, and I said, well, I just wasn't looking. You know, he said, well, you got to pay $25 again. And I said, no, I don't want to see it that bad. But I mean, this is what's happening to us. We got, I could write a book about some of the stuff I hear that's going on in the bars when they're bringing these people from Timbuktu to come down here to work as bartenders. They're not bartenders. They're workers.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean. These are the things that's happening in Cayman, and nobody seems to care. Everybody wants everything. Let me get the money, and the money's going to say, but you know, it's not funny, but the thing that's going to get me, that gets me most of all,
mm-hmm.
is that people, a lot of the people that were poor when I growing up, like myself, they now was lucky enough, or God blessed them enough to give them in a position where they could do something for the poor. And here we are. When I proposed to government some years ago about small, low-cost housing for people, and it was going to have systems, they were going to have all the things that were necessary within their little community where they were. Nobody paid any mind.
Well, sadly, man, you know, but perhaps keep, you know, sounding the horn. Maybe someone will eventually, you know, pick up on. Hey, thanks very much for sharing with us, and you can hear the man's heart. It is a lot that we're perhaps neglectful, but I'm grateful for the opportunity for, you know, now to chat with Coach Theo Kelly. Saturday night. What, today is Thursday?
Yes, it is Thursday.
So we got some bouts on Saturday?
Yes, we do. Finalizing everything right now. The head coach should be here very shortly to tell you all about the lineup. Starts promptly at 6. Like I said, it's free of charge. So everybody come out and support your local boxers.
For me, you know, and as I was just walking through, watching the increase, the intensity of the exercise, it's good. I think it should motivate us in the audience equally to recognize how important, you know, we can sort of invest in our health. But just watching the transformation of some of the boxers, you know, their physique, their muscular stature, their confidence.
Yep.
Some of them, I think, they were only a few inches taller than me. Now they look like they were like 4 feet taller. I'm not quite sure. They got that much more confidence, eh?
I tell you. But yeah, but that's good. I've noticed it as well, because even the last big bout we had Jaden. So Jaden has trimmed down a lot and showed us our development. Even one of the young fighters, I think he went off to the Bahamas, Charlie. I was looking at him today because he did a quick session with us, and the fight IQ and everything has increased. So that's very good. I'm glad everybody else noticed it. I thought it was just me.
No, man, no. It's amazing. And as you said, not only the physique, the stamina, the endurance, but the fight IQ. So join us equally is Coach Floyd, and as I was saying earlier, maybe when he come along, he'll sound a trumpet. But well, let's see if anybody else picks up on that. Afternoon, Coach Floyd.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you today?
I'm good.
All right. So they say this rests solely on your shoulders come Saturday evening, huh? Is that true?
Not really. Theo is a man for this this competition that's coming up. What we're trying to do is give all the coaches and senior staff members a chance to practice how to promote fights. And maybe in a promoter formally in Trinidad, and I'm giving them the ideas on how to go about it. So actually, it's Theo's show.
All right. I like the teamwork. I also like the fact that it's mentoring, development as part of the training, the coaching opera. How do you bring everything to the full, the holistic development of the coach as well as, you know, the fighter? But Coach Theo, last Thursday when you were here, it was, I still remember our discussion, and it was exciting. Now we're only a few days away, and certainly hopefully Coach Floyd will give us the lineup and the different bouts and the like, so that the public, it's not just for those who are boxing fans, but I think it's an opportunity for the community to come out and to see sort of pre-Olympic fighting, if I'm not trying to exaggerate, because this is akin to that. It's amateur boxing. It's a wonderful community evening. You come out with your parents, you bring the children, you enjoy the evening.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And like you said, these people could potentially be Olympians. You never know. You never know. They're young enough. They might be pros as well.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you like to be a part of their development? Yeah. And I think it's an appreciation for everybody as well. That's outside of the boxing standpoint, as a youth development focus, and anybody that supports youth or looking for another avenues. And this is the proper showcase for all those aspects. Because let's be real, less than 6 months ago, these guys literally learned the basics, and a lot of them, this may be the first fight, but as we said, their fight IQ increase, and physique, stamina, all those good stuff. So from a development standpoint, that is actually quite good.
Mm-hmm.
I think, at least.
And it's something too that you've shared. I heard Coach Floyd echo it, and most people. Boxing is that complete sport. The way it trains the mind, the body, and the soul, the agility, the endurance, the stamina. But Coach Floyd, as a professional boxer, as a coach, as a promoter, maybe you can share with us, that there are so many.
Yes, well, to be a top boxer, whether it's amateur or professional, because I don't differentiate no more, because now they train basically the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be an all-around athlete. As my coach used to tell me, you got to run like a marathon runner, sprint like a sprinter, lift weights as a bodybuilder, plus do all the boxing techniques. And then you got to think about the mental part of it, the technical part of it, and the tactical part of it. So it's really a mind, soul, and body experience. When you're in that ring, as you say, when you get in that zone, everything just, like me, I used to only hear a humming and see a blur when I get in that zone. So I think everyone has their own experience.
Yeah.
But the training really gets to that height sometimes.
And you're focusing, I would imagine, on what you're going to try to execute in the ring, but also listen to, amongst all of the other noise that is in the arena, listen to that voice of the coach for instruction. So being able to focus and tune out to hone to.
So that's why in training I tell them, if a coach is giving instructions, listen, react to it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're there on that big stage, you will react to it. If you don't react to it in training, you won't react to it in the real fight.
Training and conditioning.
Yeah.
All right. Now 6 o'clock, so the doors open. About to get on the way.
Well, ideally I'd like to open at 5, but I know how Cayman time start. But the events I would like to start promptly at 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys, people can come in whatever time they feel like to be really intrusive, but the first bout I would like to start at 6 or 5 past the latest.
Yeah, 6 o'clock is the bout.
6 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So give us a lineup, and that would be
so we have Jaden Eccleston, who's our main event, versus Stuart Whittle. Stuart actually trains with Strike. So it's a good thing to have different people train from different gyms competing.
Mm-hmm.
We have Julian Robinson against Eric McField. Another guy, Julian from Seba Boxing, Eric McField from Strike. We have Hepzibah Angel, female bout, against Tori Edmonds, giant David and Goliath situation, because Tori is tall. We have Charlie Lopez, one of our kind of experienced junior boxers, against Tyreek Taylor as a youth. Alec Lopez, these are guys now from our after school program. Alec Lopez against Jaden Robinson, these are guys 12, 13 years. Joshua Walters and Emil Powell, again juniors and schoolboys. Ben Wagner as well. This guy surprised me because he's training on the first day spot. He looked pretty good. And we have Rashid Samantina, and another good boxer with good techniques and tactics. And we have Brandy Barnes and Leah Lajat doing an exhibition. And Nick Myers and myself doing an exhibition also. Nick is, what school is name of the school? Lighthouse School. Yeah. And he loves boxing. He come train every day. Yep. He talks, he walk it. And there's no one for him, so I'm going to do exhibition and make him feel a part of the team also.
Yeah, man.
It's a bit unfair though, because Nick is 6'2", 270 pounds, so I don't know if you can manage him.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Well, Nick will take it easy. He's a gentleman.
Yeah, he'll pick it up, don't worry.
But no, I like the fact, the inclusiveness of the program. All of the schools, the Lighthouse, every school, all of the students, whether they age, whether they're male or female, and even us as parents, it's remarkable how everybody has access, everybody feels involved, and it's beneficial.
This morning I was in an early morning class, and 2 adults, they're actually now eager to box. So probably next event we'll see some of the older people trying some masters bouts also.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll leave that for you, Coach. Of course, if Ms. Norma would join the boxing, then I will think about it. If I see her in the ring, then I'll consider it. So no, probably no chance. But
we'll take it easy. We have the proper equipment. So come on, and don't be afraid.
You can put me in one of those now. But I think all where you. It's like a full foam thing you just sit into.
Oh, come on.
I'll go for that. Head to toe.
You can manage that.
I know. All jokes aside, it's just so wonderful. You mentioned Brandy Barnes, but even Leah, you see them, Hepzibah, she's running. I watched her and Brandon sprinting yesterday. I'm thinking, is that? Wait a minute, that is Carl Lewis. No, it's Carl Morgan. Yeah, almost as fast as Carl Morgan. But they're incredibly fast. You know, their hand movement, eye coordination, their poise, their posture. So it's a lot. And then, of course, as the audience, we come out, we get to enjoy it in the evening. Free at 6 o'clock. The boats get on the way.
Yes, sir.
All right. Coach Tasha take us through to about 15 or so by 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, maybe 2-3 hours maximum.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do is run the bouts quickly because it's an evening show. You don't want to sit too long with his kids, especially.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to run it one after the next. So one bout should take probably 15 minutes before the next bout again. So it's going to be a quick show and an exciting show.
That's the thing. Quick and excited, you know. It keeps the action. It keeps the audience engaged. But also it gives that sense of adrenaline, not just in the ring, but in
the crowd as well. Yeah. Totally agree.
And hopefully come Monday, more people will still think it's a new year and still want to get it, exercise and become healthy.
Yeah, they come on down. You know, the door is always open. So we're not doing the 11 o'clock class as normal, but definitely the 12 o'clock class. So if they can't make it in the early mornings or the afternoon, the evenings, you can come for the 12.
Good way to spend your lunchtime.
Exactly.
You know? You can still. I think more and more we've seen the employers. I think the Deputy Governor has been a great example of what health and wellness is across a large employee base, and more people are exercising, understanding the benefits. We're seeing not just absenteeism decreasing, productivity increasing, but the joy, because it takes a lot of less to smile, right? When you have a lot more to smile about.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm excited, man. God's will I'll be able to sit in the audience come Saturday evening. Just come down to the gym.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, just come down to the gym.
Like I said, we're not charging, but if you think you want to make a contribution when you see the fights and you think that the guys are performing well, you can make a contribution.
Yeah, man. There's always a benefit to invest in Sowing Good Seed. Now, the Dalmini Banks Boxing Gym, for those who don't know, what would be the best way to describe it? Because for me, it's just right down there, but people might know
just
that.
As you enter into the sports complex,
exactly.
First building on your right, can't miss it.
Yep, right beside the Lions Pool, right across from the football field and behind Old Georgics.
All right, see that? So it's right down there. So if you go into the Trombone Sports Complex,
first building on the right.
First building on the right. Yeah. What color is the building, Coach?
Yellow.
You sure?
Sure.
I thought I saw Paul Brooks up there. It might be red tonight. No, it's a yellow building. No, it's a wonderful facility, honestly. And the netball courts are right in the behind. So if you're familiar with it there, the Trombone Sports Complex there, bottom west, on the way to the Lions Pool, on the way to the UCCI. Well, it's just the first building on the right.
Exactly that. Also, before I forget, just want to shout out obviously the people that provided it. So the Department of Sports, thank you guys for facilitating. So they helped a lot. Who else we have? We have Elite, obviously, one of our major sponsors. We also have CTMH for providing a doctor. Just have to make that confirmation, but definitely them. We also just got word of Tortuga, so Coca-Cola will be sponsoring some drinks and stuff as well. So we're getting there. So we won't leave you guys parched on Saturday. Sorry we couldn't provide food, but at least have some drinks.
Yeah, there you go, man. And the main part is that we can see the progress, the confidence, of the young boxers. To see that it's our Arthur School students as well as the younger adults. See there's male, there's female, and all of us. And then you can see, if you really are aware of them, there's significant improvement, not in just their boxing IQ, but their physical appearance.
Exactly.
And if they're healthy, that bodes well for reduced healthcare costs, increased productivity. Whatever avenue you look at it, it has to be beneficial.
Yeah, true. And especially discipline as well, because a lot of the new ones would come in, I can't remember the term, but they would sway left and right, not too steady.
Yeah.
But once they get the keen interest, the discipline has changed. Yeah, a lot of them run early in the morning. I don't run. I don't see the purpose of running. I don't run from anybody or to anyone. So I give them props waking up that early to do that. So.
Well, thank you for mentioning discipline. And if I may, the respect. The students in the after-school program, when I get there in the evening, polite, respectful. And I thought, wow, that's commendable. There isn't, for those who may say, well, you're sort of singing boxing because you're a boxing fan. Yeah, but this is honest, this is objective, but this is the truth. There isn't our aggressiveness that people may associate with certain activities. If your perception is that boxers are aggressive, no, man, they have a very, very gentle demeanor.
My style of coaching, coming from a martial arts background, that we have to always show respect to the person with higher grade.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to inject into these after school children.
Yeah, man.
That the younger ones got to look up to the older ones and respect everyone who's higher than them. So there's a whole trickle-down effect.
Well, very evident. And I think respect begets respect. So, Coach, if I'm all over the place, you let me know. But we as adults need to look at the children, the students, and be respectful to them.
Sure.
Set a good example. But
Yeah.
if they're standing in the way you want to get past, don't push them over. Say, excuse me.
Yeah.
Because you'd expect them to do the same for you. Well, if you're not setting the example, how are they going to learn?
Yeah, totally agree.
So,
and like you said, Daddy Floyd set the standard, so if the standard high, you have to reach it.
Yeah, man, there you go, man. Well, it's amazing to watch it, to watch all the young boxers come out into exercise and training. Get up early in the morning, go run.
5:30, I'm there.
And as you said, if you don't run during the day, you run in the ring.
They run in the morning, they run in the fight, they run after the fight.
Exactly.
You gotta run.
So.
Hey, Coach, you got me. Let's get the rope. Oh, man. But I'm very glad that you were able to take a few minutes to share with us. And hopefully the public, we say there's nothing to do. Maybe we've never, and I'll confess, I love amateur boxing. To me, that's better than professional fighting. I really do. And the potential.
It's peer boxing. It's peer boxing.
Well, that is from a man who earned his living one time as a professional boxer. Okay, so if you can say that, I can repeat it, coming from the word of those who are experienced. But it's really, really, a great testimony to see what we're achieving in terms of the discipline, the dedication, and the determination, and it's improving their health. So, in closing thoughts, Coach, to you, Saturday evening, get there early, but certainly don't get there later than 6 o'clock because the first bout.
Yeah, no, I've been trained by militant people and army people all my life. So when I say 6 o'clock, latest maybe 6:05.
Yeah.
So I mean, if nobody's there, you might have missed some good fights. But starting promptly at 6. The gate and the doors are open, but latest 5:15. But come on out. Like I said, there's no cover charge.
Mm-hmm.
We just want some support. Drinks will most likely be on sale. But let's come on out.
Yeah, man.
Friends, family, anybody you want to bring.
Come early, expect the boats to be on the way at 6. I come from the maritime background, and my father takes 6 o'clock. You better get a 6:01.
Exactly.
that boat has already gone out of the harbour.
Exactly.
And that is the Cayman time that I know. Thankfully, it has changed somewhat to next time because I probably missed the boat. But,
probably.
No, he tell you on time, you better be there before time. And it's amazing. So. Any other words, Coach Floyd, that you want to share with us?
Come out and look at the young boxers, and also the younger coaches will be the one who control the corners. I'll be observing from afar.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be having a little more fun that day, looking at the boxer, looking at the coaches in operation.
Yeah, man. And I think people should not, sort of let this slip. Potentially, we could see Olympians in the ring come Saturday evening.
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of talent there. I mean, natural talent. Like some of the students who never even knew that they liked boxing or actually doing the bouts, which I think is fascinating. Mm-hmm. So, like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if I would say four out of the people that fight Saturday evening would be. So
good talents.
Yeah. Seriously, man, and I think this is where we don't appreciate it. We say big fish, small pond in a derogatory manner, but we don't appreciate it. It's the other way around. That small pond can find us the opportunity to harvest. But anyway, that's another socio-political discussion.
That's a philosophy session next time. Man.
Of course, to you, Coach Floyd, thank you for a few minutes of your time.
No, thank you for having us, man.
Yeah, man. This Saturday evening, 6 o'clock, the boat's going to be, so get there early so you can get a ringside seat.
Yes, sir. 1800 hours sharp.
There you go. All right, we're going to pause and take a break, and when we come back, we're going to welcome the opportunity to speak with our friends from the Health Services Authority, and the oncologist and the cancer registrar will be our guests. So please, stay tuned for Talk Today.
Go Cocoa Nuts with Cocoa Fest at Pedro Castle on February 8th from 12 to 6 p.m. Indulge in all kinds of coconut things. Coconut-inspired food, treats, fresh coconut water, crafts, games, music, and more. Admission is only $5 and free for kids under 6. Proceeds from each entry fee benefit Meals on Wheels Cayman. So if you like coconut, come to Cocoa Fest at Pedro Castle February 8th. For event details, check us out on Facebook. This ad is sponsored by Fidelity Bank. We're good for you.
We need to talk. Okay. We've noticed you've been going to KFC a lot more than usual lately. And
that's fine. We know you love it.
We just don't understand how you could afford it.
The KFC What a Deal menu, starting at just $3.50, gives you lots of great choices and value. Available at KFC Baytown Plaza, Shedden Road, and in the Strand. The KFC What a Deal value menu, the deal everyone should know about. Come to KFC and enjoy a variety of tasty choices at surprising prices. KFC, so good.
The Water Authority would like to inform its customers of a temporary interruption of service. Customers in East End and Northside will be without water for approximately 2.5 hours as the authority works to repair a leak at the junction of Frank Sound Road, Botanic Road. Additionally, customers who live in the area between the junction of Frank Sound Road, Bawden Road, up to the Red Bay Primary School will experience low pressure during this time.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks again for joining us, and I'm really grateful for Radio Cayman and allowing this platform to be used to educate, inform, and certainly directly involve our listening public. And when we can partner with the Health Services Authority in particular, it's always encouraging and educational. Well, in the studio, the Cancer Registrar, Ms. Amanda Nicholson, together with oncologist Dr. Lundy Richards, are our guests. Hey, thanks very much for making that long journey from. It's so hot. I mean, it's still January, but that's a long walk. What, half a mile almost, it seems like. Maybe. Yes. But good afternoon. All seriousness, it's a pleasure to welcome both of you again to our studio.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you.
Perhaps, Ms. Amanda, we'll start with you. The notion that we look at cancer, and maybe we celebrate World Cancer Day, we speak to the issue. For me, and I'm hopefully not insensitive, I find that despite the incidents, at the very least, as a small community, we're no longer a whisper in the word. We have seminars for the general public, not just for the conferences, for the physicians. We're able to have public forums like this where we can discuss, where we can appreciate that it isn't, this thing that we should ignore.
No, and I think you're right. I think we're starting to see some of the stigma around cancer disappear, and that's actually one of the goals of World Cancer Day, is to make sure that everyone has information and that we do talk about it and not push it into a corner.
As an oncologist, Dr. Richards, well, good afternoon. Your perspective. Let me not ask a question first. Let me just invite you to share as you wish initially, sir.
Yes. You're right that especially here, more and more people are cognizant of general cancer, and people are not afraid of talking about it, and people are very well learned in terms of what these various diseases are and how we manage them, what are the support services. But I want to go on a little bit further from that, and I think one of the things that Amanda and I were discussing outside just now is the broad spectrum of support services for persons diagnosed with cancer here in the Cayman Islands. And these things range from within the HSA itself or other institutions that diagnose, that physicians help to diagnose it, and in terms of diagnostic services right across the system, we do have top of the line. But apart from that, and apart from just having the specific treatments, it is the support services that are provided by a number of partners. And the Cancer Society, Breast Cancer Foundation. Then within HSA, for example, we ensure that the nutritionists play an important role because people with cancer, their metabolic rate changes and they need certain type of high nutritional value food, and they need to be encouraged. We talk about like the physiotherapists who play a very, very important role, especially in women with breast cancer and having breast cancer surgery. Those, that intervention is great. The psychologist plays a very, very important role, and as part of our protocol, it is that we try to set up appointments for persons to see the psychologist. No, not everybody wants to go and see the psychologist because people believe, oh boy, I'm going to the psychologist, meaning I'm mad. No. You go see the psychologist or the psychiatrist does not mean you're mad. It means that, they are the professionals trained in helping us to get over certain mental health hurdles.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing it, and it certainly guided me. I was just, as you shared that, I was thinking back to good advice from friends who are physicians, friends who may be in other areas, and they say that mental health and wellness, you've been diagnosed with something, whether it's terminal or otherwise, maybe you suffered an injury, maybe you've had something occur, having the psychologist, that mental health provider available to you, they can talk to you, guide you, nurture you, be cognizant of it, can be instrumental.
Right, and even and also the Cancer Society, they do have some mental health support as well in terms of having group discussions and group meetings, because we also recognize that having cancer doesn't mean that it's I or me, it's your family, it's your community, and then when we begin to look further, it is the whole society and it is the economics. As well. So it is important. It's one affects the other. And so it's important to recognize that when one person has it, it's not a person alone, it's a whole society and it's a continuum of care.
Yeah. And it goes right across, the family, the community, the co-workers.
Correct.
For some of us, the economics become very obvious.
Yes. The economics are in two ways. One is that you are not producing to feed yourself and your family. And then the second aspect is that you're not in terms of helping the economy. And then thirdly, you may be paid for sick leave.
Yeah. Then there's the costliness of the treatment and the lost productivity.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I think so. There's also in the economics, the psychosocial implications of how that person is feel or made to feel by the surrounding sort of environment. There's so much at stake, if you look at it, and depending on perhaps the type of diagnosis, what the prognosis is and how that person is perceived. Wow, it's a lot.
It is, absolutely.
But I think, though, at some point, if it's not inappropriate, Ms. Amanda, maybe this is why I keep saying that having a registry, for want of a better term, will allow us, even if it's just years down the road, to be able to look back years in the past and say, okay, here are certain things, and from that we can extrapolate information, develop some sort of profile, maybe make some sort of, assumptions.
Yes, you need that basic foundation of information if you're really going to properly plan for cancer prevention programs and treatment, and if you want to see whether or not your cancer prevention efforts are working. Do you see cancer incidents decrease over the years, or is it increasing?
Yeah, and if they are they in certain areas? Are there certain types? I keep saying, we look at repetitive injuries, and if the society all of a sudden install a new factory and everybody's come away with their little toe being chipped, it's because every day everybody walking through the threshold and they're hitting it.
Yes.
You would want to pick up on that, right? But no, we ignore it because nobody made a note of it. Right, Dr. Lundy?
No, I agree. And especially for everybody, but including our politicians, those who prepare budgets, our insurance companies, our hospital. We need to be sure what are the numbers that we're dealing with. What types of cancers are we dealing with? so that we can appropriately plan. How do we know how many breast cancers are we going to see, or expect to see this year or next year? How do we properly plan for that? How many? What is going to be the cost to the hospital? What's going to be the cost to the insurance companies and so on? We don't know at all.
As you were referencing the support services, I think some of us probably would, be quick to appreciate the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens in their initial sort of rounds of breast cancer awareness, and how that may have allowed us to get to that point where we're comfortable speaking publicly. After the break, though, let's delve into it more. Ms. Amanda, take a cue from you and have a chance to chat about it.
Sure.
Perhaps, Dr. Lundy, you can share with us, some of the treatments as we look at, the practice on college and the like. All right. For those who are listening, phone lines are open, and no one better than Miss Susan standing by to take your calls. So 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Please join us after the break.
Count on Us Cayman Limited. Count on Us Cayman Limited. Let me see where I can find this in this book.
Count on Us Cayman Limited? What are you talking about, Susie Q?
Nita, Count on Us Cayman Limited, let me tell you, it is a small, robust service company in Cayman. They offer bookkeeping services, property management, and that's not all. They also offer a variety of other services, such as customs brokerage and Cayman auto and tech services.
Then it sounds like I don't have to run all over town like a chicken with its head cut off to get my business taken care of. I can just call. What's that place called again, Sue?
It's called Count on Us Cayman Limited. They take the time to understand your business. If you need more information, you can give them a call at 623-6941 or you can call 323-3995. And if you need to email them, the email address is info@countonuscaymanlimited.com. As the authority continues its water restoration efforts following Tuesday's earthquake, the staff event scheduled for tomorrow, Friday the 31st of January, has been cancelled. As a result, the office will no longer close half-day tomorrow, but will remain open for normal business hours tomorrow, Friday, January 31st.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
The Business Buzz with Sabrina Turner. Each and every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. Brought to you by
Cayman Medical Supplies. Call them at 949-6211. Cayman Insurance Center, celebrating 45 years in the Cayman Islands, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And also brought to you by FSH Designs. Let your imagination grow with FSH Design. Visit fshdesign.com today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions.
Talk today. Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us as we have a chance to continue talking with I like this term, the cancer registrar. I could say the cancer czar. How about that?
I think I like that better, actually.
I like that better,
Cancer
yeah.
czar.
Yeah, Miss Amanda Nicholson. And then on the call, just Dr. Lundy Richards. Now, if she becomes the cancer czar, Dr. Lundy, what do we call you? I mean,
cancer guru.
All right. Hey, today we've elevated. No, but it's good that we can, have these discussions, and I think understanding in a very respectful way that families who've experiencing perhaps a recent diagnosis, perhaps who have undergone another bout of treatment, chemo, radiation, whatever else they're trying, that they're looking at it in a way, and hopefully we can be helpful to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, from that though, Dr. Lundy, as we look at, is there something the public, from the perspective of incidents of cancers, not only coming from the registrar's perspective, but we have always had this notion that cancer is this thing, and despite how much more we may have public discussions and support services, and even the diagnostic services at HSA alone. There's still something about it that changes people's sort of demeanor, if I can put it that way.
Yes. It's when one hears the diagnosis of cancer, it changes the whole perspective of life. The typical thing is that people begin to count days. They begin to think that, it's all doom and gloom. But the good thing about it is that, we still have to respect science and technology, that over the years we have been able, to diagnose cancers much earlier than before, and so we have been able to address them much earlier and give more appropriate treatment. In the yesteryears, like when I started oncology way back, it wasn't a pleasant experience for patients. Now it's much better with all the different medications that are available. More specifically here, and across the world really, but cancers are treated based on the actual diagnosis, the stage of disease, and there may be other prognostic markers. Cancer treatment are becoming more and more specific and targeted. You're not really shooting in the dark, and they're every day. In fact, I have difficulty keeping up because every single day there are different treatment options coming out, and there are different diagnostic procedures, especially the ultramolecular testing that are being done every single day. There is something different. So that is it's good from the perspective that it allows us to understand the disease much better and being able to plan our treatment strategy. Especially within the HSA, almost every chemotherapeutic agent is accessible generally, right? Wow. So persons who need treatment may access most of these. There are times when we have to refer patients out of country, either for some kind of what should I call it, super cutting edge diagnostic tests that may not be available locally. That happens from time to time. And we also refer patients out of the country for some kind of treatments that are not available. And these are usually like radiation therapy or combination chemo-radiation therapy for certain type of conditions, or, of course, think that bone marrow transplant. But most other treatment in terms of especially chemotherapy is available. And our surgeons are expert when it comes down to surgical maneuvering. They're pretty good. And we have full support of all the other specialties that form part of our interdisciplinary approach to treatment and care.
I think as you share, that interdisciplinary approach is something that more and more we're starting to see. We're recognizing in education sort of cross-curricular pollination. Don't just do a math class. Let's introduce physics and accounting and economics because they're math. But hey, what about the English language or other languages? Bring the student into all of the lessons, as it were. Well, likewise with the nutritionist and dietitian, talking to the physiotherapist and making sure that what the oncologist is prescribed benefits the patient completely. Right, Ms. Amanda?
Yeah, it isn't just we were talking about this earlier, but it's not just a patient and their doctor. It really is a team. It involves a lot of different people.
Well, no man is an island, we're told, huh?
No.
Although some are big as an island. But from that in perspective, then, as we look at this population, and sometimes we see that we are of the belief that, well, we have to travel somewhere else in order to get that level of treatment and care. Now, other than radiation, I think it's still not available here at present. Everything else seems to be available to us.
Most kind of treatment is available locally. As I said, we have to travel for radiation therapy, whether it's on the main continent or in Jamaica, right? And there are certain type of treatment regimen that do require radiation or a combination of radiation and chemotherapy. But most of the other therapies, they're available locally. And if there's something that is not immediately available, there is a process to access certain drugs very quickly. So we're satisfied with that.
And I think going forward, we're going to see fewer and fewer people have to go overseas for treatment.
I believe so.
I think at some point a radiotherapy facility is being built. I think maybe through Health City.
I've heard something like that, but I don't know what the details. And it'd be good to have that. We, for example, we have access to a PET CT scanner by Baptist, and that has people have almost immediate access to it, and so that is good.
So from that perspective, and again, guide us, because I think more and more we're starting to my take, look at the preventative nature, but also be proactive in our approach and to say, okay, let's not ignore whatever that thing is. And I probably do it, maybe others as well. And we will get to a point where you go to the physician and there's a diagnosis. Had we come earlier, it may not be that costly or that difficult or that extended a period to treat had we come earlier. But sometimes we ignore it, right?
It's easy to put it off if you're not feeling too bad, but the fact is you need to go in and get checked out regularly, because if you catch it earlier, it can be a simple treatment sometimes.
Correct.
It's not a death sentence anymore, but you want to get in there, get tested, and make sure that if you do have something wrong, you're going to get it early.
Could I ask then, and if I just maybe defer to Ms. Susan, we don't need to break just yet, right? I still got a few. Watching the clock, she's on the ball. I tell you, today, yesterday, and you can make sure tomorrow as well. But like some ailments, we'll know their signs and symptoms. Preceding, you go to the doctor. I could have told you that. Yeah, I knew it, but I better come and get my thing. For cancers and the like, are there any things?
That's one of the big problems with cancer. Sometimes, more times than not, there are no immediate warning signs or anything that would cause us to be alarmed. And that's why, as you mentioned, it's important. There are sometimes some basic things that we do. Our men, you should go in for your routine examination, which includes a digital rectal examination. It's very, very important in terms of prostate cancer. Our young women, especially those in the fertile age and have children, they should go in and have, as part of their medical, they should have a pap smear. So these are simple,
mammograms,
right? So the whole aspect of having self-breast examination among our women, the mammogram and ultrasound, these things are usually relatively inexpensive, available, and especially self-breast examination has no cost. And we find a number of our women self-diagnose, and they are correct.
I hear that a lot too from some of our registrants, that they first knew there was a problem because they checked themselves, they paid attention to changes in their bodies, and they went in.
Yes,
I remember, and again, hopefully people listening would, if it helps us to look after our health, that we be cognizant.
But the other important thing in terms of looking after our health is the whole aspect of do not smoke, reduce your alcohol intake, your exercise, your diet, because we find that the incidence of some cancers are much higher, for example, in our obese population. Control of the other chronic diseases, because you might find a higher incidence of various cancers with people who have other chronic disease, because cancer is only one within a number of things.
So our lifestyle, generally speaking, can influence.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll pause and we'll take the break. When we come back, Mr. Amanda, you will be more than gracious as we listen to some of the things you share.
Sounds good.
All right, Dr. Richard Zico, because I think it's crucial for the populace to appreciate that the true wealth is in the health of our people. We say it, but do we really believe it? Are we prepared to invest in it? And as an individual, are we able to, take a few extra minutes this evening and walk a few extra paces? Maybe it's the first few paces in a long time. It's still a happy new year. We can still, get back on to that revolution, not just a resolution, to make sure that we're moving, right? All right, after the news break, please rejoin us.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. It's only 2 species that we have in North Island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access and
Local, regional, international, this is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
The Water Authority would like to inform its customers of a temporary interruption of service today, which began at noon. Customers in East End and North Side will be without water for approximately 4 hours as the authority works to repair a leak at the junction of Frank Sound Road and Botanic Road. Additionally, customers who live in the area between the junction of Frank Sound Road and Bodden Road up to the Red Bay Primary School will experience low pressure during this time. Good afternoon once again. I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. The White House is pushing back against the publication of a book by former National Security Advisor John Bolton, citing security concerns. The National Security Council said the book had top secret details that must be removed, a claim Mr. Bolton rejects. A manuscript of the book reportedly claims that U.S. President Donald Trump linked freezing military aid to Ukraine in exchange for a political favor. The book row comes as the questioning period of the impeachment trial begins. And Facebook has settled a long-running legal dispute about the way it scans and tags people's photos. It will pay $55 million to a group of users in Illinois who argued that its facial recognition tool was in violation of the state's privacy laws. The case has been ongoing since 2015, and the settlement was announced in its quarterly earnings. It comes as facial recognition used by the police and in public spaces comes under intense scrutiny. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. And certainly if you wish to, engage us and share a question, well, we can make it easier for you. I mean, Flo offers up a toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. And if you, like the rest of us, who knows that your financial contributions to the economy keeps the money flowing, well, you pay for the call, 949-8037. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Dr. Lundy Richards, oncologist at HSA and the cancer czar. Miss Amanda Nicholson joins us. No, but I think as we look increasingly at that notion of where we are in this community, not just with the discussions, but the ability to diagnose and to treat, the support services for a relatively small community, we have a lot to offer that would parallel what we'd expect in world-class places. Yeah.
We do. I think so, yes.
It's a testament to the commitment of, to you and to your colleagues and to the commitment. I think it's can't go unspoken.
But, one of the things that that we'll be looking at certainly over the next week or so as part of our cancer awareness is, while I will not let the puss out of the bag, is trying to look at some of our numbers, which just give us a bird's eye view of what is happening. And just to mention that it appears, for example, that prostate cancer has increased by 25% over the past 4 or 5 years, for example. This is just pulling a little bit of data from HSA. I don't know what Amanda has seen in terms of prostate and breast, but these are two of the more important cancers that are around, and these do show some rise within over a short period of time. And so, if we should extrapolate, who knows what's going to happen, and how does the government look at it? How does the insurance companies look at it? I think, this, I think, is important, especially as we look toward developing the cancer registry, which will give more authentic data. And as we prepare our budgets from year to year, what happens? How does the insurance company prepare for this? How does the government prepare for all of these that will continue to rise?
How do we look at the whole approach to, as you said, not just diagnosis, prevention, but actual early screening? And where are the resources, and where are we as a populace becoming cognizant that there are things, Ms. Amanda? It's a lot to take in, but it's possible with the right support services.
Absolutely, it is, yes. I agree with what you were saying about the prostate cancer increase in breast cancer. We see that in the cancer registry as well, particularly breast cancer. Those are two of the most commonly reported. One thing I'd like to see is for more men to take the time to register. I think only about 30% of our registrants are men right now. So if we had more participation from men within the community, I think we would have clearer numbers as far as prostate cancer and other male cancers.
I want to ask you as well, the process to register. You shared it often. I think I could probably repeat it verbatim. I mean, it's so simple, but yet, is there a thing that maybe white men don't take the time and register? Dr. Lundy?
I have a theory on that.
Should I close my ears and my eyes?
Let's go outside.
Let's go outside.
Yeah, let's go outside.
I think, just from experience, I think you'll find that women sometimes are more likely to share personal information with others. Other projects I work on where you rely on volunteers to come and share personal information, I find the same thing there too. We always have more females participating than males. I'm not sure how to make that change, but I'd really love to see more men come and participate.
I suspect it's a psychological thing.
Yes.
And this is just my own theory. It's not from reading or anything of the sort. But, men want to be seen as, the powerful figure and nothing that is going to make us look a little bit weaker. Men generally do not like that.
I would agree with that.
So
there's probably that as well, but I think too that the notion sometimes the way things are geared, structured, or presented, for male and female, and maybe it's the male-female brain, is maybe the socialization.
Possible.
You give the same thing to two people, male and female. How do they respond? And some of my friends are like, "You run an experiment on us again?" I'm like,
that would be a good experiment. Actually, that would.
And it's. But I was actually thinking about that too, how to get people, but then there are other variables to consider, even the age of the participant.
But public education from early, and I think starting within the schools where our boys need to understand and see self differently. Not just because you're a male and you're expected to be the macho figure, but there are other aspects of life that they need to begin to take control of and information of, and how they go about moving self. Because male figures do go through this, similar things as female figures.
Yeah. I think too that idea of socialization and education, the strength sometimes is only exhibited in physical strength and stamina, as opposed to strength being the example you set. Are you there able to do this thing? And this shows more strength of character and of self than it does, huh?
It does, yes.
I tell you, boy, sometimes best spirits can be very... We do have a call online, don't miss Amanda and Dr. Lundy. Let's go to the phones. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for calling. Yes, hello, good afternoon. All right, we'll get that connect up as soon as we can. Maybe it's two wires need to connect into the... I have. It's just... You remember the day with the telephone lines, wait a minute, I'll connect you up now and put it in... Did I mention I will also be listening while you're talking to another? How far the technology has come.
Yes,
certainly.
The switching mechanism. Hopefully, in respect for that caller, will be able to rejoin us, as the caller can. It's just the nature of the things. Maybe it's the earthquake causing the phone.
You never know. Everything got a little sketchy after that.
Oh, yes.
I don't know about anybody. That's not to get sidetracked, but a lot of us still say we're feeling wobbly, woozy, dizzy.
True.
Yeah.
It was an experience that... Yeah. It was a different experience.
Yeah, I wonder if it's...
Hopefully one we don't have again.
Yeah, let's pray for that. Because boy, that was not pleasant at all,
No.
But it just shows you, again, how things can have a knock on with that. Now, maybe it's our brains being moved around a bit, Not unlike when you're on a boat for extended periods of time, you come ashore, you still feel the swing.
You're still on the boat for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're thinking, what? I should have had extra fish tea just to get me around it. But you were referencing the incidents and sort of the increases. I was thinking it's not just of reporting after the fact, there's actually the things that are being diagnosed.
Correct.
And hopefully it's because more people are now coming forward for early testing and not ignoring.
Correct.
So there is...
It could very well be.
Yeah,
it could be.
All sorts of interesting...
it could, or a combination.
Yeah.
Or a combination. what question that people always ask, so what causes cancer? Of course, cancer is a big word, big word. You have to think, okay, so what kind of cancer are we talking about? But in general, we're looking at environmental factors, we're looking at genetic factors, all of these contribute, and factors that we don't know what they are, that really contribute to it. And as I mentioned earlier, there were some things that we need to do in order, one, early diagnosis, but also what we can do in terms of prevention. That's important.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Mr. Mani, you've shared the prevention, but also having that conversation with your physician, whether it's initially your GP, being aware of yourself, noticing changes. Maybe it's the male, and all of a sudden there are certain things that are occurring that this is a little bit different. Instead of being unwilling or uncomfortable, go to the physician and say, listen, but the receptiveness too.
Well, I think it's tough when if you find something wrong with you and you go in, you're terrified that they're going to tell you it's something really bad. But the fact is, if you go in right away, the moment you notice something's changed with my body, it's probably something that you've caught early on and not the end of the world. And a cancer diagnosis is certainly not a death sentence anymore.
Dr. Richard, I don't wish to put you in an untenable position or to be disrespectful, but
if you do, I will tell you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was just thinking as I was sharing this idea of, getting men in particular, but the patient. I noticed this change. You may have noticed it for a couple of weeks. It may have been, a few months too long. But this isn't going away, whatever this thing is, right? Sometimes you hear people, well, I went to the doctor. One, they don't tell the doctor everything, so the doctor can't be a mind reader. Yeah. And secondly, when they do, it's perceived that it's not taken on board as urgently, as not as receptive to it, a bit dismissive. With those two things, first, obviously, share as much information as you can, be as comfortable in sharing. But how do you get that sense of confidence? Okay, I came, and then the doctor can allay your fears. Yeah, I know you're worried about this, but here, it's not that. I can assure you. Then you balance the cost of test.
Well, to me, one of the most important things to get things out of patients, it is listening. It is listening to patients when they have a story, and they always have a story. Yes, there are occasions when they go off a little bit at a tangent, and you have to know when to bring them back in, and be as simple as possible without using lots of medical jargons. Be able to speak as if you're speaking to a third grader.
Yeah. Talk to me so I can understand what you're saying.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. I think that's important in terms, and so patients, they feel at ease and feel like they want to share more information with you, and as you mentioned, the information you get from them is a guide to how you go forward. The other important thing is for us to be always remember what are some of the things that we should be looking for, at different stages in different people's lives. What are the more common things we look for? And so along the line, take for example, once a man crosses the 50 age group, then we should be looking at having colonoscopy, and if that is okay, depending on which jurisdiction and on which protocol you follow, it may be every 5 years or every 10 years, depending on what you see. So these are certain things.
And I'm glad you shared that too, but I think it comes back to us as the patient being willing to take ownership. So if you're 50 years old and you're really, really, really healthy, exercising and eating, getting regular checks, okay, 5-10 years might be okay. But if you've gone through significant changes, the environment has changed, your lifestyle has changed, well, don't wait 5 years, especially if you notice something, right? Well, doctors say, come back in 10 years.
Oh,
no. Don't do that. It's someone's will.
No.
Something happened in the last go. So we need to become, I guess, a better, well.
But and it's also important that our patients recognize, for example, that you may come in for example, a routine medical, as we call it, with your GP or with your specialist physician. We don't, do every single test that exists to make sure that you don't have a cancer. it would just not be
Be overkill.
ethical. It would be supremely costly and just not possible. Right? There would be no indication for all of these. So sometimes you go, but I've been to the doctor and I've been checked. So how come I have cancer now? It's one of those things.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes, even with the most exhaustive of tests and the most frequent visit, sometimes this, life happens, sometimes things happen, but it comes back to us now being aware that we can influence the outcomes. And if you're, engaged in a particular lifestyle.
I agree with you. Largely, we can do some amount of prevention, right? And really reduce the risks. And if we reduce the risks, then the incidents will be less. And, of course, we'll live longer lives.
And what I say, not only adding, years to our life, but life to our years as well. As you were sharing, Dr. Lam, I was thinking back that provided, just generally speaking, the person is 70, 80, safely, it's never too late to look after your health. I mean, the earlier you start, the better it is, but, a good start is never too late.
I think a lot of people sometimes feel like cancer is something that's outside of their control. But, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a majority of cancers, I believe, have at least some environmental component.
Yes, they do.
So you can take some ownership over that, and you can make a difference. It's the way you eat, the exercise, all the things we've talked about, but you have to take the mindset that it's left to fate. It's not, cancer is something that you can do a lot of things to prevent.
I think too, our lifestyle, the foods we eat, the frequency.
I think that's a big one. I think the food we eat is a big one.
What is it? Food is medicine. What do they say? If you don't, one day your medicine will become your food. And if we look at it properly now, for some of us, it's going to be a challenge not to have that, whatever that thing is, every Friday night or every day. But your physician has said, can you cut back on that? Moderation. Take that advice.
Some things are hard, though. I mean, sugar can be a tough one. I struggle with that one.
It's in everything.
Right. It is. It really is.
But other things, like, our sexual lifestyle, it's important. I mean, when you look at the incidence of cervical cancer among our women, of course, it's most frequent among those who have had multiple sex partners, at very early stages in their life. I'm talking about teenagers up to the 20s and 30s, and then by the time they get to 30 years old, then they're diagnosed with a cancer because of the whole transmission of the human papillomavirus. So these simple things like that, using a condom all the time, may help.
Yeah. Is it then that as a society we need to get to a point where education is disseminated in a way
critical? Critical.
Education
is critical.
I don't know. I think sometimes people don't appreciate that we're smarter than what we may appear, even though we may be young. And if we talk to them in an appropriate tone, as you said, use the appropriate language, but at a level that is not only demonstrating your competence, but you're actually able to convince people that, hey, this is good information. They can take it on board and use it. We're not there, I don't think. But with that in mind, and as we look at World Cancer Day and some of the activities, the things we want, Ms. Amanda, help us to appreciate it, how to get involved and how to get informed.
Okay, well, there's a lot of different things that people can do to show their support for World Cancer Day. You can write to health officials and ask them to take greater steps to increase cancer research and prevention. You can volunteer at various organizations which are committed to cancer prevention, make donations. We're also having an event to recognize World Cancer Day at the Health Services Authority, and this would be on February 4th from 5:30 to 7. And it's Cancer in Cayman. Together we will fight, and Dr. Richards will be here. We will have representatives from the Cancer Society. Cancer survivors will be there to share their stories. And of course, the registry will be there. So it's going to be a very informative night, and it offers guests a chance to speak one-on-one with the representatives who are there to ask questions, get information. So I think it's going to be a great event for those that can attend.
And I think that speaks to what you were sharing earlier, the idea of the support services that are available, the awareness, but also the network that is within here. And I can imagine if someone recently diagnosed or has been, perhaps on the path, could share that information with somebody else, encourage them, nurture them, not letting them feel in the wilderness. Goes a long way. We got one final break to take. When we return, please, accept the invite to share with us as much. Repeat anything that you wish. If we can get to a point in our society where information flows freely, unprompted, people are informed and engaged, they take ownership, wow, we certainly would be a responsible society. All right, let's pause and take a break.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Breakfast is back. Yes, Saturday, February 1st, starting at 7 a.m. at the Lions Community Center. Enjoy a tasty Caribbean breakfast of fried fish and fritters, liver and onions, and ackee and saltfish, starting at only $10, and help support your community. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman supports sight screening, prostate and colon cancer awareness, Miss Teen, spelling bee, and so much more. Get your Caribbean breakfast and support the Lions Club of Grand Cayman in their community efforts happening Saturday, February 1st, starting at 7 a.m. at the Lions Community Center.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you Monday through Sunday by ValueMed Pharmacy. Open 7 days a week, including holidays. ValueMed Pharmacy is located on Walkers Road and Evron Plaza in Boddentown. Or fill prescriptions online at value-medpharmacy.com.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm really grateful to the Health Services Authority for allowing us to tap into their phenomenal team, and from time to time on a very regular basis for these discussions. The cancer czar, Samantha Nicholson, and as she's labeling, the cancer guru, the oncologist, Dr. Lundy Richards. I'm hopeful that next Tuesday evening, you say the 4th?
Yes.
5:30 to 7?
Yes, February 4th.
Mm-hmm. People will come over to HSA and be a part of the evening.
I hope so. I think the point is to get people really involved, not just sit back passively, but, ask questions, make comments. If there's anything you're not sure about, speak up. And at the end of the event, there will be some booths set up. The registry will have one. I think the Cancer Society has one of their own. So if people want to come and speak with the panelists one-on-one in a little bit more private setting, that's an option as well. And I'm hoping we'll have lots of people stop by the cancer registry table because I've got lots of information to share.
There you go.
Yeah, for me, it is to reiterate that cancer appears to be rising, certainly here in the Cayman Islands. When we look at breast cancer over the past 4 years, we look at prostate cancer and cancers of the gut and bowels. Those seem to be rising. Others seem to be relatively steady. We will have a look next week on general status of what is happening. We'll have a look and we'll try to remind our people who are our partners. We have lots of partners. Some of them we don't mention. And our partners, whether they are from the insurance companies who pay for people's drugs and pay to send people abroad, the HSA itself, the Cancer Society, Jasmine, which, as I was saying to Amanda earlier on, that, God forbid that I should have a terminal illness. Believe you me, the new Jasmine is serenity. I love it up there. Right? Yeah. And the whole continuum of care happens right here on the ground, from prevention through to early diagnosis, late diagnosis, because somebody may present late, through to the care. And one of HSA's whole mantra is to be known as a caring institution, and we do provide the best quality care that's available according to the updated protocols that are available, and we try to ensure that people have access to care both here and abroad if it's not immediately available on island. So people must recognize that most things are generally available, and the last thing is that you're not alone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's key. Because you can feel alone, even if there's a lot of people around you, you may feel isolated. And I was, as you were sharing, I was trying to get a sense of people to appreciate that, as you mentioned, Dr. Lundy, the notion that cancer isn't just one, and the diagnosis and the treatment could be wide-ranging, but for that person, they've got cancer, and for them it
could be a dark place.
Yeah. It could be, and knowing that the support mechanisms are here, understanding that the phenomenal team and the resources that are available here, if necessary, we can access it externally. May give that family as much as the patient, a sense of hope. But then come back to lifestyle, and I'm mindful of the time, but I'm thinking increasingly as we look at our statistics over time, maybe as we start to understand the importance of the analysis of the information that we have, that we may, as a society, get to a point where, we have, is it 365 days a year, right? Except this year, I think we have 400 days of sunshine in Cayman. I saw that statistic somewhere. Yeah, I'm sure. So it can't be fake news. We have such a beautiful climb, and yet, how many of us, including myself, will really make time? Because I'm sure there is time, but do we make time?
We have to make it.
Yeah, and is it that our employment situation is such that we could go outside and take lunch on a bench somewhere with a little fresh air? Is that the environment that we've inculcated within our office? Is that that sort of...
Walk away from your desk at lunchtime. Walk away, even if it's a small lunch or no lunch.
Yeah.
Right? Just walk away. Take 20 minutes just walking around. That's healthy.
It's good for your mental health.
But I think it comes back to the society getting to a point where it is the norm for people to be exercising regularly, for people to be conscious of their health. That ethos in the office isn't, well, what's your profit margin this quarter? It's, hey, did you spend time with the family this weekend going sailing?
Yes.
We're not there, and that's not idealistic. That should be possible because that's what we did not that long ago. But now it's something else. It's materialism, over what really matters, the true relationships and the good domino game. I mean, there's three of us now. A quick 6 up with one more person. I mean, a few hours later. Okay, that's some fun, huh?
Yes.
But small steps.
Yes.
Small steps. Well, I'm very, very grateful for you both taking some extended time, and I'm hopeful that the public listening weren't as dismissive as we tend to be at times when we hear things. That maybe it's going, as Coach Theo shared with us earlier, coming down to the boxing gym for your lunchtime session and exercising, but being able to be supported by your colleagues to get there and back, and being of the mind that you have to do these things, and then you take your children with you and you walk the beach, and you do so safely.
Improve your quality of life.
Yeah, quality of life, man. It's amazing. If you do that, then the things that you indulge in, you can enjoy even more. I won't go any further than that. It could be chocolate, it could be other things. But if you have... laughter, they say, is good medicine.
Yes.
You don't need a script for that. I'm sure there is. If I might invite any sort of closing thoughts, respectfully, Dr. Richards, we'll start with you first, and then Miss Amanda, we'll do it that way. Any final words, sir, for today?
Well, the final word is that HSA is here to help. We care.
I love that one.
Well said.
Yep. Can't top that, Mom. I'm sorry.
No, I can't. No, I'll just say that I encourage anyone who's been, anyone in the community who is a cancer survivor who hasn't registered to take a minute and find out some information, give me a call, or stop by the seminar at the HSA on the 4th and learn a little bit more. And my number at the registry is 244-2560. I hope we see you all at the HSA on February 4th.
5:30 to 7 p.m., all right?
That's right.
Well, thank you very, very much. You know, it's good to know that we have not just competent.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Always a pleasure. All right, tomorrow's Friday, and we want you to be a part of our discussion. First off, start for the record in the morning, but stay tuned for all the programming, and then come back for Talk to you later after the midday news and midday meditation. We got some interesting things in store for you, including, you know, Miss Katina Anglin bring along Dame Sawyer with her, and then if I'm fortunate enough, Mr. Patrick Schmidt will sit next to me as well. So that's tomorrow. Until then, be blessed.